Hello and welcome to yet another Wednesday night, the night we bring you the news with the extra touch. Tonight we start with good news for Kano, Benue, Abia and Imo as far as power supply is concerned, and women took center stage at the Senate as distinguished senators lined up to support their empowerment. The COVID-19 vaccine is here, and all of a sudden, there is a flurry of activities around the country as vaccination activities begin. We have all these and more. And when I say more, I mean there are security stories, business-related stories, as well as stories on agriculture. Of all the interesting stories tonight, I'll recommend you don't miss the story of the stockbird. If you don't know the stockbird, watch out, so you will know what it brings to the table for farmers. Anyway, that is just a tip of what News Extra has today. You just wait for the rest, as the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Marbuba, and this is News Extra. I welcome you. The Federal Executive Council has approved contract for the reconstruction of 3 substations for enhanced power supply in Kano and Benue states. Also approved is the extension of power transmission lines to some communities in Abia and Imo states. The Minister of Power, Salim Oman, announced this while briefing journalists after the meeting of the council presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports that a memo on the strategic implementation work plan for the Nigerian Delta region also scaled through.
The meeting 8 for the year 2021 and 37th to be held virtually in compliance with the COVID-19 Safety Advisory considered and approved 6 memoranda aimed at enhancing the nation's power and education sectors as well as the development of the Niger Delta region. For the power sector, the council approved $27.7 million and 5.48 billion naira for the construction of 3 substations at Bichi and Kanya in Kano State, as well as Zakibiam in Benue State. $506,000 as well as 34 million naira will also be utilized in the extension of transmission lines in Abia and Imo states.
Just to expand the national grid in order to house sustainable supply of electricity and also improve capacity. Before now, there's been complaint that more power is being produced than is being wheeled out. So all these contracts is about improving the capacity of the TCN so that when this electricity is produced, it will get to our homes.
And in continuation of government efforts at revitalizing and rejuvenating the education sector, over 190 million naira has been approved by the council for the University of Ibadan towards acquiring a new state-of-the-art microscope for enhanced cutting-edge research in the Department of Anatomy.
The first of such equipment was given to us in 1967 by the Japanese government, but has become obsolete. The federal government, in its holistic attempt to address both its economic and social values as well as upgrade our educational targets, then approved this so that we can stop spending the kind of money we spend sending PhD and further research students abroad on the basis of the lack of this particular equipment. And if University of Ibadan is empowered, it will become the fulcrum for many other research faculties around the country, including from neighboring West African countries.
For the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, its memo on the strategic implementation work plan for the Niger Delta region has been approved. It is an e-portal where all projects aimed at adding value to the Niger Delta region will be keyed into for effective monitoring, guidance, and planning purposes.
We believe strongly that will help in coordination. It will also help in stopping duplication of projects. It will also help in stopping false accusations. For instance, the federal government is doing so much through the Ministry of Niger Delta, but most of those projects are being owned by either the local government or state governments without the knowledge of the people. we have about 50 projects completed and ready for commissioning, bed for COVID-19, done by the ministry, not the NDDC. And so those projects will be in that portal so that you can sit down in the comfort of your bedroom and look at what the Ministry of Niger Delta has done for your state, has done for your community. You can also look at it, what has Total, that is operating within your area, done, what has Shell done, what has Chevron done, what has ExxonMobil been able to do in the last 2 or 3 years for you. Those things will all be there.
Still for the Niger Delta region, a variation of contract has been approved for the 18-kilometer Baraguru-Oviagbene Road in Bomadi local government area of Delta State. The project, initially awarded at 8.5 billion naira, is now to be completed at 9 billion naira. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Apart from the socio-cultural impediments to women emancipation in Africa and Nigeria in particular, there are legal hurdles that have worsened the ugly situation. But the barrier is on the verge of being dismantled as the Senate has resolved to amend all laws against gender parity and domesticate all treaties on gender equality. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
It's been a week for the women. From various quarters, the significant role of women and the dangers of its neglect resonated. At the resumption of plenary on Wednesday, one of the motions on the floor of the Senate was the call for women empowerment. The chairman Senate Committee on Women Affairs, Senator Betty Apiafi, leading other female senators, drew the attention of the Senate to the strides and challenges of Nigerian women in observance of the 2021 International Women's Day.
The 9th National Assembly is challenged to amend the Nigerian Constitution and include gender parity and enact laws that will improve the lot of Nigerian women and girls.
We need to fully participate. All women are asking for is a enabling environment. We have to come up with laws that all these men have to support us. You have wives, you have daughters.
The 9th National Assembly to domesticate all conventions and treaties of the African Union AU in respect of gender issues. Those in favor of Para 6I, those against any.
Infrastructure motions followed suit as Senator Jibrin Issa drew the attention of the Senate to what he described as the urgent need for the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency to embark on the rehabilitation of the Shintaku-Ayimba Road in Kogi State, as well as the Lagos-Ota-Abeokuta Expressway, presented by Senator Olamilekon Adiola.
To embark on immediate maintenance of the Shintaku-Ayimba Road to boost economic activities, facilitate transportation of farm produce, and reduce crimes in the axis.
The Insurance Act 2003 Amendment Bill, sponsored by Senator Ibikunle Amosun, the Teaching Hospital for Modibo Adama University of Yola Establishment Bill, by Senator Aishatu Dahiru, the Institute of Information and Communication Technology or GOJA Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Stephen Ode, and the National Directorate of Employment Amendment Bill from Senator Kabiru Barkia, passed second reading.
This bill is proposed to ensure compliance with the compulsory insurance of public buildings and buildings under construction by relevant stakeholders in Nigeria.
Senate has adjourned to Tuesday, the 16th of March 2021. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Abuja and Lagos airports are for now the only two in Nigeria operating international flights. The House of Representatives is urging the reopening of the international wing of 3 others, as their continued closure is affecting the economy. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the issue was a main feature at plenary Wednesday.
The order to close 3 of the 5 international airports in Nigeria, effective from Saturday, 21st March 2020. Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano, Makia. Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, in Enugu State. Port Harcourt International Airport, Omwaga, in Rivers State.
The motion raised by House Leader and 33 others noted the loss of revenue and the attendant stress on businesses in the affected regions. The lawmakers called on authorities to decide on a timeline for the resumption of international traffic in the said airports, which required COVID-19 preventive protocols in place. The House also urged the federal government to transfer looted funds recovered from a former governor of Delta State to the coffers of the state government.
He said recovered loot funds belong to the good people of Delta State and as such ought to be refunded to the coffers of the Delta State government for developmental purposes.
Among motions adopted is the appeal to Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs to assist victims of last week's banditry attack in 30 villages in Sokoto.
The bandits are now clearing all farm products, cash, food crops for dry season farming, which make life unbearable for the victims.
House members urged security agencies to secure the release of a Boko Haram abductee, Reverend Polycarp Zongo, and 2 women, as tabled by Representative Dachung Bagos, while the call from Representative Abdul Qadir Rahis on the need to address recurring terrorist attacks in Maiduguri was adopted.
The most recent and deadly attack on the evening of 23rd February 2021, which resulted in the death of 16 people, with about 60 others sustaining various degrees of injuries.
The lawmakers, citing recent incidences of fire outbreak, advised that fire alert systems be installed in public buildings as moved by Representative Henry Nwauba. 5 bills passed second reading, while 2 reports were considered and approved as the Committee of the Whole, one of which is on a bill that seeks to regulate mortgage brokers and lending. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the establishment of the Federal Polytechnic, Orogun, in Delta State. The Deputy President of the Senate, Ove Omoagege, who received the news through a letter from the Ministry of Education, describes the development as remarkable. Senator Omoagege, who, on behalf of the traditional and religious leaders, as well as political, women and youth groups in his senatorial district and Delta State at large, applauds the President for approving the establishment of the higher institution. He observed that the presidential approval demonstrates President Buhari's clear vision for a better innovative educational system, as well as his patriotic attention to strategic human capital development and deep love for the people of Delta State. Now, global recognition and support for the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine for COVID-19 has continued to gain key players' attention in a bid to completely flatten the curve of the pandemic and entrench a new world that is safe with enhanced health immunity. Abakar Usman Akwango reports that the latest endorsement of the vaccine is from critical stakeholders on NTA's Tuesday Live.
Since the outbreak of coronavirus pandemic in 2019 and the declaration of the virus as a global health emergency, stakeholders have stepped up efforts to contain spread of the pandemic. And with the development of AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine through clinical evaluation and scientific approval to be safe and effective, stakeholders remain firm in the integrity of the vaccine, but raise concern on compliance with non-pharmaceutical measures.
So many people who are schooled, who are educated, are telling they want to kill us with vaccine. I just laugh. They want to kill you and they have not killed you since. Is there any drug we are producing in this country? They want to kill us, they would have killed us since.
The AstraZeneca vaccine is cheaper than all the other vaccines. It's not that it is an inferior product. AstraZeneca decided and they announced that they will not make profit during the pandemic.
Nigeria's commitment to ensure more than half of its population is vaccinated before 2022 and priority to the aged and vulnerable persons is described as a great move to defeat COVID-19.
The first 4 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine that were brought in last week are part of a consignment of 16 million doses that we're getting from the COVAX facility.
Other regulatory agencies have been exchanging information about side effects, adverse drug reactions from the vaccines, and there is nothing scary. It is part of drug product development.
The need for micronutrients to supplement and improve the function of the immune system cannot be overemphasized.
As states take delivery of AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine, stakeholders hope that the administration of the vaccine will reflect nationwide coverage and return the country on the path of economic recovery and sustainable growth. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
State governors and members of the cabinet have led COVID-19 inoculation exercises to encourage the populace in taking a jab of the vaccine. Abdullah Mohammed reports.
Of Jigawa State has led his cabinet members to take jabs of the COVID-19 vaccine, which is expected to reach about 34,000 citizens of the state.
You have been seeing the result is not much, and we also follow the death pattern in the state to see if we are missing something.
In Akure, the Ondo State capital, the governor Rotimi Akeredolu has asked the people of the state to shun unfounded rumors about the vaccine while being inoculated.
Let me assure our people in this state that our cold chain in the state is fully functional.
Maiduguri International Airport was agog as the Deputy Governor of the state, Osman Katafur, received the state's share of the vaccine.
We have so far received 75,510 doses.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, Kawai Fayemi, took the jab, calling on his people to do the same.
The availability of COVID-19 vaccines and its global distribution is a development that should gladden the hearts of all of us.
In Kaduna, the governor and his deputy were at one of the designated COVID-19 vaccine centers to receive the jab.
I didn't even feel the prick, and after the injection, I was asked to sit for 15 minutes.
Leading by example, Governor Goiga Oyetola of Osun State received the first jab of the COVID-19 vaccine in the state capital, Osogbo. The collective move by the state governors in receive Abdullah Mohammed, NTA News.
Vaccination against coronavirus is in progress, as we've seen. So far, a good number of the country's leaders have been inoculated. This action will go a long way in debunking conspiracy theories against the vaccine. In this report, Hingnojan Adams examines Lagos preparedness for vaccination.
It is a known fact that coronavirus pandemic has negatively affected all sectors of the globe and even caused economic meltdown. Nations, including the most developed, are still feeling the intense heat caused by the ravaging virus, turning the world to a war zone where all nations are unanimously fighting the disease. The battle is definitely favoring humanity with the discovery of a vaccine.
So many vaccines are being developed for COVID-19, and they are in various stages of development. We have about 180 that are in the preclinical stage.
Nigeria has now joined the list of countries that have received their share of vaccines, and inoculation has already begun.
There are stakeholders around logistics of collection of vaccine, storage, distribution, and how we administer all of that process of the steering committee.
First-line health workers, the elderly, the vulnerable persons with comorbidities will be prioritized to receive the vaccine.
Lagos residents are optimistic that cold chain and preservation of the vaccine in the state will not be compromised to maintain its efficacy.
It's a very good development. My prayer is that it should produce the desired results.
It's going to be very essential that people get it.
With vaccination going on around the world, it is hoped that a cure for the infection will be found soon to ensure a world free of the pandemic.
Thank you, Hingino. Nigeria's HIV/AIDS response is now recognized as the most COVID-19 resilient across the global community. This is one of the good news Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Bas Mustafa, shared with the Executive Director, UNAIDS, Winnie Bianyimi, in his office. Abdullahi Mohammed reports.
A familiarity session and to business proper. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, opened Nigeria's HIV/AIDS and COVID-19 response progress sheet, citing a feat in the enrollment of about 400,000 persons living with HIV on the retroviral treatment program within just 18 months. He stated that President Muhammadu Buhari's prompt response to containing the spread of COVID-19 and the formation of a formidable economic team to sustain the economy and save it from aftershocks was phenomenal.
And we can see that being reflected on how we exited recession when it was not even predicted.
Impressed by this scorecard, Executive Director UNAIDS says the UN agency will continue to support Nigeria in the management of the scourge of HIV and COVID-19.
And I've been hearing stories of heroic efforts coming from our countries, including Nigeria.
On that note, the meeting ended with both sides agreeing to work assiduously to ensure that HIV/AIDS remains top of global development agenda with the establishment of a sustainable pathway for control. In Abuja, Abdullah Muhammad, NTA.
Up ahead, border communities count their blessings and government increases its presence amongst them. Plus, kidnappers in Imo in for a hard deal as their hideouts come crumbling. Please stay.
We're just having a good time, and I'm feeling so good.
Where you did? I dey come now. You go see me now. You go.
Call your body and everybody, yeah. Make we start to the corner.
Where you did now? You go see me now.
Everybody they dance.
Where you did now? You go see me now.
You want
I'm fine, sir. Even me, I'm surprised.
Hey, where you at? You go Mexico, you go Jericho, I go let you go.
Hello, how are you?
Tell us one truth nobody knows.
I like to steam it from my mama's pot.
The best data plans in town. Dial *777#. The Honorable Minister, Niger Delta Affairs, His Excellency Senator Godswill Akpabio, gladly announces the official commissioning of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC's new headquarters complex on Eastern Bypass, Marine Base, Port Harcourt, by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Date, Thursday, 11th March 2021. Time, 11 a.m. The commissioning will be broadcast live on the network services of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, and the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, Channels Television, AIT Network, as well as NDDC Facebook and YouTube channels. All stakeholders and guests are advised to kindly join these platforms from their homes and offices, as there will be no physical gathering in accordance with COVID-19 regulations. Signed, Mr. Effiong Akwa, Interim Administrator and Chief Executive Officer, NDDC.
There's enough to go around.
With Mr. Chef seasoning cubes and powders, every meal is something to look forward to.
Me first.
Mr. Chef, creating delightful memories.
Ooh la la.
Sweet nutrition.
As you adjust to the new realities for operating your business and engaging with your customers, let us help you transform your business into a digital powerhouse capable of adapting and taking advantage of today's opportunities. With our best-in-class array of digital solutions, you can conduct your business, receive payments from your customers, and perform transactions quickly, safely, and conveniently, because we've got you covered with the right people, technology, and service offerings. Contact us today and let us take your business to its zenith. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
On behalf of Nigeria's digital economy family, the Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, appreciates our highly esteemed President, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, whose leadership has led to unprecedented progress in Nigeria's digital economy sector. This explains why the ICT sector recorded a 14.7% growth rate, making it the sector with the highest growth rate in the fourth quarter of 2020, exceeding the combined rate of the next 5 fastest growing sectors. The establishment of the National Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics, the National ICT Park, and the National Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center are positioning Nigeria to benefit significantly from the global emerging technology market. Mr. President's commitment to promoting the NIN has resulted in by far the highest quarterly enrollment since the scheme was initiated in 2007. Mr. President's recent approval of the first ever condition of service and career structure scheme of service for NECTA will further position the agency to become a world-class information technology regulator. For these and many more, we wish to express our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. President for his immense support for Nigeria's digital economy sector.
Pension fund administrator, we soft, make sense, we care for me, shy. No be the time when story go enter the matter when it's time to deliver. Oh no. The brand is sure them no go stress you. Call them then they accessible. Customer care where they on point. No go regret when you try, of course. Profitable investment, everything is just a blend. If you know what's good for you, my guy, make you choose premium pension today. Make that switch to premium pension. Premium pension. Make that switch to premium pension.
Join over 700,000 satisfied members and enjoy the premium experience at our offices across the 36 states in Nigeria, including the FCT. Call 094615-700-704 to make the switch today. Premium pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
When times are tough, we know that as a mother, one thing you should never compromise on is your family's oral health, because they deserve the best. Oral-B, all-round protection. Its great value, it protects your mouth from harmful bacteria and also protects you against tooth holes and gum problems which can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your family's teeth and gives them all-round protection. So remember, protect their future. Oral-B for healthier, stronger teeth in just 1 week.
Thanks so much for staying. Nigeria's digital switchover from analog to digital broadcasting is a project that will be pursued to its logical conclusion. This is the position of key players in the process. Anthony Forson reports.
When the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed inaugurated the ministerial task force to work and deliver a successful digital switchover in broadcasting, he made it clear that the task force cannot afford to fail. A reason probably why he chairs the task force. Having successfully rolled out in 6 states with 2 signal distributors, integrated television services, and Pinnacle, there is a renewed attempt to discredit the process. In the light of this, we took the matter to the doorsteps of the National Broadcasting Commission.
Nigeria is not among the countries that have not kick-started. There are several countries that have not even started at all in Africa. So we've taken some strides. We're in 6 states as we speak. We have done what is critical to the process in terms of delivery of platform. We have 2 signal distributors operating side by side in these 6 locations. We have set up companies that engage in producing set-top boxes, or if you want, decoders, which are very critical to the transition.
Again, we'll try to pull some assurance.
There's going to be availability of channels a leap in terms of availability of channels in the digital era.
However, one key component to make the process a success is the set-top box. Godfrey Onwamua is one of the licensed set-top box manufacturers. He says there is no cause for alarm, just as integrated television services, one of the two signal distributors, also confirm they are ready with their technological know-how to roll.
Today there are 13 set-top box manufacturers in Nigeria. Only a few of them, have set up their factory. More is waiting. With the launch, with the movement of the DSO, more of them will set up their factory.
We in ITS were committed to this project, and the Minister has given us much order, and that one we must do.
It is expected that in the coming days, the timetable for the commencement of the rollout will be announced. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Let's head to Sokoto now, where border communities in the state have benefited from 62 projects by the federal government between 2016 and 2020. These were carried out under the Border Communities Development Agency. Sheikh Mohammed Datti has that.
Sokoto is one of the states with border communities and had benefited immensely with projects by the agency. This time around, people of Mana village in Dogondaji district were made happier by the agency as a greenhouse project consisting of micro-cell cluster, 2 hectares of shelter belt, fish pond, 2 solar-powered boreholes were provided and formally handed over to the people. Executive Secretary, Border Communities Development Agency, Captain Junaid Abdullahi said federal government is committed to improve the lives of the people in the border communities, urging the benefiting community to safeguard the projects.
Development in the border communities is one of the focus of this agency in order to arrest youth restiveness in these areas, arrest rural-urban drift.
The Border Communities Development Agency entourage had earlier called on Governor Amin Waziri Tambol soliciting for state government's continuous support.
So I appeal to both the executive arm of government and National Assembly to pay more attention to this very, very important agency, more so now that we're having all of these challenges and our communities living on these borderlines.
The agency was also at Ilela border and met with traditional rulers, business community, and security agencies. The meeting dwelled on programs capable of making lives of the people in the border communities meaningful, but security topped the agenda. The agency pledged to execute projects that include fencing of Ilela Market and a school in Ilela town. From 2016 to 2020, the Border Communities Development Agency had executed 62 projects in Sokoto State, while more than 10 projects will be executed in the state in 2021. In Sokoto, Sheikh Mohammed Datti, NTA News.
The Ministry of Defense is to upskill support to the armed forces of Nigeria to rapidly stem criminality across the country. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Musa Estefanus, said this while on a working visit to the Defense Headquarters, Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has the details.
Timely provision of equipment, logistics and administrative support to the armed forces is critical to the success of ongoing joint military operations across the country. This prompted the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Musa Estefanus, on working visit to the Defense, Army, Navy and Air Force Headquarters Abuja to assure these services of improved working relations and to enhance synergy among the forces.
It is not the fight of the Nigerian army against insurgents. It is the fight of Nigerians against those that are trying to make us look bad. If we can keep to that, I don't think that we need to spend more than 6 months in taking these people out.
What you've done thus far is very clearing, and it gives me hope that whatever may have been a challenge in the past will no longer exist.
With joint aggressive operations across the country recording appreciable success, heads of the various services promise to collaborate in curbing crime.
I want to inform you that the Nigerian Army has achieved commendable successes in the war against Boko Haram, banditry, and other forms of criminality.
The contributions of the Permanent Secretary's Office
in terms of prompt attention to Nigerian Navy's request, have been instrumental to the successes recorded by the Nigerian Navy in securing the nation's maritime environment.
Before the rainy season, the President has directed that we should ensure that the farmers are able to go back to their farms. And we are working around the clock to do that.
This is the first working visit of the Permanent Secretary to the Defense Headquarters, Abuja. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
In recent past, criminal elements appear to have infiltrated Osun State, hitherto known for peace and security. As government and security agencies re-strategize, the criminals seem to be frustrating such efforts by giving them more sleepless nights. Otherwise, how can anyone explain 2 abductions by gunmen within a week in the state? Well, Shegun Laoli reports that residents are apprehensive.
In recent past, the hitherto peaceful Osun State has been under security threats. From armed banditry and kidnapping to armed robbery, ritual killings and cult clashes. Residents no longer feel safe despite assurances by security agencies in the state.
The insecurity in Osun State is a social challenge in the sense that nobody is even safe. You cannot even travel between Ilesha to Osogbo.
The State Security Council is, however, not unmindful of the security situation, having taken far-reaching decisions at its last emergency meeting to checkmate criminal activities across the state.
All the security agencies were at the meeting and they've looked at what is the immediate and remote causes of this problem, and solutions have been proffered as to how we are going to, fight this crime.
The question is, why the sudden attraction to Osun State by criminal elements in recent past? For instance, within 1 week, 2 abductions were recorded in parts of the state, although the police have been able to rescue all victims.
Crime and criminal activities is dynamic. The kind of crime that we are seeing last year is not the same this year. As you are trying to curb some, they are advancing in other area, and we have to re-strategize again to be able to go ahead of them.
The idea of fire brigade approach shouldn't be. It should be gathering of information, exchange of information, and processing it into intelligence. For all these, our security apparatus to work upon.
Police authorities urge residents to support and cooperate with all security agencies and government so as to adequately secure Osun State. Shegun Laoli, NTA News.
You're right, Shegun. We know that desperate situations require desperate measures. So it is not surprising that in a renewed effort to flush out criminal elements operating in Abia State, the state government has demolished 2 bungalows used by kidnappers as hideouts in 2 local government areas of the state. Kingsley Ononiu reports.
Buildings are located in Eziala, Unsulu, in Isalangwa North local government area and Omalozu Avenue off Urata Road, Aba. Addressing journalists at the demolition sites in company of the State Commissioner of Police, Janet Abede, Security Advisor to the State Governor, Awa Udensi, said the houses were used as dens for kidnappers, and accordingly, the law mandates the state government to demolish any building identified as a hideout for kidnappers.
The present government, under the watch of His Excellency Victor Ikpazu, has zero tolerance for crime, and he has ensured that there is good level synergy among the security forces towards protecting Abians, visitors to Abia, and those that have come to do their investments in Abia State.
At the second location in Aba, where the kidnapped suspects lived with other tenants, the security advisor stated that 3 suspects were arrested where arms and ammunition were recovered from their apartment. He also explained that punishment for kidnapping in Abia State still remains death sentence, whereas any building used as hideout for kidnapping business must be completely put down in line with the law. In Umuahia, Kingsley Onaniwu, NTA News.
The education sector in Nigeria in recent times appears to have again come under the attack of insurgents with abduction of students from schools. This trend has sent a wrong signal to parents, some of whom are thinking of withdrawing their wards from boarding schools for safety. Hadisa Godwin Ebune, who interacted with stakeholders in the Federal Capital Territory, reports on apprehension expressed.
Importance of education has been adequately discussed in many ways and in different literature works. It is in realization of this that the government in its 1999 constitution made a declaration of the rights of every Nigerian child to education, irrespective of gender, tribe, religion or race. However, with the incessant attack on schools and abduction of students by bandits, students and teachers are likely to be deterred, and this may inhibit academic performance of the students and cripple the country's development.
We should sit down quickly and address this issue. We cannot allow it to continue to remain like that. We are really uncomfortable. Those of us running schools, we are very, very uncomfortable. They can come in any time, So I think the government should do what is necessary to really, really stop this.
The implication is that by rainy season, we will be talking of going to school. When these kidnappers follow people to their houses and pick these children, how will you wake up again and send your children to school?
School environment connotes all human and material resources available in the school. Fences are important barricades against intrusion and external uncertainties, keeping people and properties within safe. Stakeholders observe that school fencing is no longer enough, particularly at this challenging period of insecurity. It is in this regard that the FCT Education Secretariat is implementing more stringent security measures as part of border safety plans in all its schools.
Allowing numerous footpaths into school environments should be avoided. Number two, they should have strong personnel that will be manning their interests.
The government is up to the task, and I believe within the next couple of days, those who are fomenting trouble will actually know that actually they will get a match for their heinous acts.
With this ugly trend of abduction of school children and closure of boarding facilities in some states in the north, educationists say the noble goals of education can never be achieved. Hence, all hands must be on deck to curb the ugly trend. Hadiza Godwin Ebune, NTA News.
It has been 33 years of road safety campaigns in Nigeria through the establishment of the Federal Road Safety Corps. How has the Corps impacted the quest for a safer road culture in the country? Well, in this report, Oyeyemi Ajayi takes us through the journey of the Corps.
That was the scenario before the establishment of the Federal Road Safety Corps. Nigeria grappling with road traffic crashes as a result of many factors. Before 1988, Nigeria was the second most hazardous nation in Africa to drive vehicles on. Lives and property were lost daily, prompting the country to establish the FRSC on 18th February 1988 to bring sanity on the Nigerian roads and reduce fatalities and crashes, as well as make Nigerian roads management a world-class standard.
It recorded, for instance, a commendable 62.4% reduction in crash. In this regard, it is instructive to state that the Corps has doggedly fought road traffic crash from the unacceptable 40,881 of 1976 down to 10,522 in 2020.
From the pioneer Corps Marshal, Dr. Olu Agunloye, to successive leadership, the Corps has worked to achieve a 0% road fatalities on the highways through a series of policies, materials, measurements and enforcements. No one will forget the change in number plates, use of seatbelt and many policies introduced by FRSC to enhance road safety.
I think that Nigeria will be the lead in road safety on the African continent very soon.
It has not been easy, however.
The most pervasive is the occurrence of assault on our men.
Though the corps started as a highway safety management organization, it has become a revenue-generating agency for government through fines issued to erring motorists. These aside the landmark achievement of being one of the few countries to ratify the United Nations Road Safety Conventions, setting the core on the global space. The figures of accidents and fatalities may have dropped as a result of activities of the FRSC, but there is more to be done by all stakeholders to reduce carnage on Nigerian roads. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Coming ahead, cargo movement from Lagos to Onitsha Port and on other inland waterways to commence soon. Also to come, the story of the disappearing stock bird, harbinger of good news to farmers in the north. You don't want to miss out on these. Please stay.
5 million people die from lack of access to affordable health care. With the current pandemic, the number has doubled because of its adverse effect on the economic situation in the nation. No money, no health care. But that shouldn't be. Introducing the Cross River State Health Insurance Scheme, Ayade Care. Now, all you need to do is enroll and start enjoying the best medical insurance available. As all of us don't put money together to take care of all of us. Hurry now. Enroll at health.crhis.ng.
Closer to your dream, would you stay where you're unappreciated? Or would you somehow take that first step to changing things for yourself? At ARM Pensions, it's not about who you are, it's about who you play with. Join the team that appreciates you. Switch to ARM Pensions today.
Son, being good at something requires strength. It requires putting in more. That's why the new improved Bonvita is packed with vitality and a richer, creamier taste.
It is time for celebration. 30 years bustling with goodness. The challenge can never ever stop us. You can't underrate us. You can't underrate us. Bustling with so much greatness. Enjoy your world of nourishing goodness.
Moments can be ordinary. It's what we make of them that really matter. Like super moms do with Indomie. Moments to laugh with Indomie. Moments to learn with Indomie. Moments to care with Indomie. Moments to share with Indomie. Moments like no other. Mom's love makes all moments beautiful. We celebrate the selfless love served over the years by our amazing moms. Happy Mother's Day from Indomie. Indomie noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
Like a bird needs wings to fly, you need skills to be productive. No matter the level of your education, ITF can train you to acquire skills in areas like mechatronics, metal machining, facility technology, electronics and computer networking, information and communication technology, ICT, culinary art, and agriculture. Acquire a skill and transform yourself from being unemployed to becoming even an employer. Be a valuable Nigerian youth. Say no to unemployment and poverty.
I'll spread my wings and fly so high. I'll reach for the stars, yeah, it's time.
Industrial Training Fund, developing the nation's human resource.
Chelsea look to continue their amazing run of 12 games unbeaten when they travel to Ellen Road. Will they succeed or will the streak come to an end? Find out as Leeds United welcome Chelsea this Saturday on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 1 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Babai Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up in association with Gold.com.
Good to have you back on News Extra. Financial experts have advocated the sustenance of the Central Bank of Nigeria's dollar for naira remittance policy to surpass the $24 billion annual remittance from the diaspora. Chimabi Walter Naji is standing by for the rest on Business News. So Chimabi, how will this policy impact on naira?
Indeed, Fatih, it will impact in many ways, and the Naira may soon heave a sigh of relief, with the new CBN diaspora remittance policy. This is the view of some analysts while reacting to the impact the policy will have on the nation's foreign reserves. Professor Ken Ife believes the incentive given by the CBN will act as a catalyst to grow the dollar remittance regime and relieve some pressure on the country's foreign reserve policy. The policy, which he described as an experimental approach, will open up windows of opportunities in seeking ways to reduce the cost of remittance.
The more it could find its way to strengthen our foreign reserve, and the more it makes our naira stronger. That is the point. So indirectly, yes, it will. Indirectly, naira will benefit from that because naira is backed by dollar, and if the more control we have over dollar, the better it is for our naira.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Stock Exchange has received final approvals of its demutualization plan from the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) and Corporate Affairs Commission. With these approvals, the exchange has now completed its demutualization process under the demutualization plan. A new non-operating holding company, the Nigerian Exchange Group PLC, has been created. And investors gained 127.87 billion naira as NSE All-Share Index inches up by 0.63% amid improved market breadth. To close at 38,931.25 basis points as against minus 1.80% depreciation recorded previously. Its year-to-date returns currently stands at minus 3.33%. Market turnover closes negative as volume moved down by minus 24.84% as against 64.83% uptick recorded in the previous session. UBA, FBNH and Guarantee were the most active to boost market turnover. Guarantee and Nestle topped market value lists. And those are the business news trending on the hour. Want to join you again?
Well, thank you so much, Chimabi, for other business package. Now, from business to the transportation sector. After a successful trial of batch cargo delivery from One in Port Harcourt to the Onitsha River Port in Delta State, the National Inland Waterways Authority is finalizing plans to commence cargo delivery from Lagos to other states through the inland waters. 8 barge operators have so far been licensed to commence operations. And Dutun Ogunyemi, how's that?
Bringing the chaos that is traffic congestion in and around the Apapa Port complex to order has remained a tough nut to crack. However, concerted efforts between agencies of government and other stakeholders is set to yield positive results with the licensing of barge operators to deliver about 1,000 containers per trip from Lagos to Onitsha.
Can be sure, I'm certain about it, that moving your container from Lagos to Onitsha by water will be cheaper than moving it from Lagos to Onitsha by road. For now, what we are concentrating as an authority is to ensure that we maintain our channels, to make them all year round navigable, to carry flat bottom barges. Very soon now, in this 2021 procurement, we have a provision to re-survey the route. We're still going to do survey to make sure that our records are up to date.
This is to enable effective utilization of the over 3,000 kilometers of navigable waterways that can be accessed by 28 of the 36 states of the Federation. The agency also says it will tackle issues of security and enforcement of safety regulations to avoid economic losses. In Lagos, Dotun Okunyemi, NTA News.
The trade arena of the Commercial Nerve Center of Northern Nigeria, the Kano Trade Fair Complex, will soon wear a new look that is benefiting of its status. Just as the first airport in Nigeria, the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport is to resume foreign flights. These were commitments that Kano Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, led by Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, secured when it came calling on the federal government in Abuja. Benny Adams reports.
Kano, the center of commerce, has been doing much to develop infrastructure commensurate with its status. Now the Kano Traditional Council, the legislature, and the business community want the federal government to come to their aid, and that explains these visits. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Adeni Adebayo, explains federal government's readiness to partner in the rehabilitation. Kano is also taking advantage of the Ajaokuta-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline project and the Lagos-Ibadan-Kano rail project to boost the economy. Having secured this commitment from the Trade Ministry, the Kano delegation moved to the Ministry of Aviation, where it appreciated the completion of the international wing of the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport and appealed for the resumption of flight operations at the airport, which was shut down because of COVID-19.
Requesting for the return of international flights.
Hadi Sidika urged Kano indigents to create activities that would make the airport more viable through increased passenger traffic. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
The new Managing Director and Chief Executive, Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, Bello Hassan, has formally resumed duty at the corporation in Abuja, alongside the new Executive Director Operations, Mustafa Ibrahim, with a promise to consolidate on existing gains. Again, Benny Adams reports that the Executive Director, Corporate Services, Omolola Abiola Edewo, led other members of staff to receive the new top officers.
Bello Hassan was former CBN Director of Banking Supervision and a member of the NDIC board, a chartered accountant and business administrator with knowledge received from the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and Coventry University in the UK. With years of experience in financial stability issues at the Apex Bank, Bello has resolved to bring his wealth of experience to bear on his new assignment. He is starting off with a 4-point agenda bordering on orderly resolution of liquidated financial institutions that their licenses have been revoked by the CBN, assist monetary authorities in ensuring stability in the banking system.
I can assure you that depositors' funds within our banking system are safe.
The new management also wants to tackle the dynamic nature of innovations in the financial system with necessary expertise and policies.
We must make sure that the staff are up to date in terms of their skill set, because that is the only way we can deliver on the mandate.
The new MD encouraged financial institutions to strengthen and protect their digital assets to boost investment and pledged to strengthen collaborations with stakeholders with a view to consolidate on efforts of past leaders. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
And so a bit on agric now. Boosting food production as a means of economic diversification is key, and the Lagos state government is focused on this by organizing a 4-day training program for agricultural extension agents. This is also to mitigate the negative impact of COVID-19 on the agricultural sector. Musa Toliet has the details.
Is basically to expose farmers and value chain actors to information technology with a view to promoting sustainable agricultural and socio-economic development of the country. The training is also informed by the federal government's plan to implement one of the recommendations of a special technical committee established by the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development to train 75,000 agricultural extension agents in collaboration with state agricultural development projects.
Extension officers are actually supposed to be carried along such that you begin to know for this value chain how many extension agents can really cater to that field, how many extension agents can really bring about the change, and then we also begin to drive for more resources if it is required, more training if it is required, because the technology that is required in each value chain is different.
Whatever they are being trained now, they are going to pass it on to farmers, and it will eventually have impact on agricultural production and productivity.
It is when we are in line with new innovations, knowledge, and good agricultural practice that this will come up. And who is going to pass all this information? Is those extension agents.
The participants are part of the first batch of the extension agents to benefit from the training program.
From this training, we have been able to realize that we need to be able to have these biosecurity measures on farms.
We've learned so many new things, so many new technologies, so many new techniques that can actually impact our farmers.
I have learned a lot, particularly yesterday when we were talking about rice, cultivation, how we can cultivate rice on field.
The training is expected to create new and effective ways to cope with the COVID-19 pandemic without disruption to agro-allied business in the country. In Lagos, Musa Tolian, NTA News.
Building the capacity of youths and existing practitioners in agricultural extension delivery system through exposure of global best practices will enhance efficiency in the revitalization of agricultural extension services and food value chain actors in Nigeria. To achieve this, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development put together a training workshop for agriculture extension agents across the country. Ode Alenyo has details of the training held in Calabar, Cross River State.
Taking agriculture to a whole new and better level is the heartbeat of the federal government, and as part of efforts to match words with action is the basis for the training of agricultural extension agents organized by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. As stakeholders highlight the importance of the training to reduce unemployment, youth restiveness, and improve food value chain and supply, participants are appreciative of the opportunity, which will not only improve their skills in agriculture, but change the poor perception of youth towards agriculture. The Cross River State Commissioner for Agriculture, Ntufam Okunowuna, urged participants to take advantage of the training to improve themselves while hoping for multiplier effects on communities and the society at large. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Alhaji Mohammed Sabo Nanono, represented by the State Coordinator of Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Iwara Basi, says to realize agriculture policies and research, agricultural extension must be prioritized.
This training is one of several strategies planned by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development with the aim of pursuing the revitalization agenda of the Nigerian economy.
The 4-day training of agricultural extension agents by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is ongoing in the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. In Calabar, Ode Alenyo, NTA News.
There is this long-standing symbolic relationship of man and nature viewed by farmers in northern Nigeria. For example, the appearance of stock or chamois in local parlance as a good omen for new beginning every year with bountiful rains for a successful cropping season. Over time, there are concerns the long-legged migratory bird is fast disappearing In this report from Kaduna, Haruna Mohammed, with contributions from Jigawa, Kano and Katsina, takes a look at preserving the endangered species.
When the season comes, the appearance of the migratory bird cannot go unnoticed. Traveling from long-distance areas as intra-migratory African species, the farmers recognize with high expectations of a bountiful rainy season.
Its coming marks the beginning of the rainy season.
I can also try my voice on one very popular among the young generation.
It's even kind of tongue twisting.
Findings show stock has been viewed in time as a powerful symbol of new beginning in physical and spiritual life.
They are migratory. Their presence signify good luck and fertility.
The conservation clubs, they can go out to feed the birds, and having the stock birds around is one of the benefits.
But stocks are disappearing in core areas of their habitats of Jigawa, Katsina, Kano and Kaduna states, and what may be the causes. The reasons are not far-fetched with globalization, climate change and socio-economic challenges in society.
The environment was conducive for them, and the environment is tempered either by the climate change or by human activities.
Shortage of water in some places bring all this. So because those birds need water always.
Although experts confirm the linkage between the stock and rainfall, they say the timing coincides with breeding season.
They are regarded as breeding visitors to this country. So they come in before the rain season. During the rain season, they breed.
What is the way forward?
The law that guides the wildlife that do not poach. Once anybody is found guilty of this, the penalty should be enforced.
If the government will revive or sustain the game reserves, the forest reserves, then the birds will come back.
Yes, the bird stock needs to be protected to preserve history.
With development in science and technology, will farming communities continue to rely on a migratory bird to educate them on climate issues? And can conservation initiatives promote the endangered species? May be the focus of an update. In Kaduna, Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
Sure, can't wait for an update, Haruna. Now, for better legislative performance, Nigeria Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies goes to work on legislative trials. Find out how when we return from this time out.
When youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment, it is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth Entrepreneurship Support Years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
A new edition of TV Guide is out with special focus on the game changer, His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State. Broadcasting in a digital economy, Maxwell Lobo gives an insight. This edition also features Nancy Naji of AIT, a name synonymous with business. Meet the NCDC boss, Dr. Chikwe Ihekweazu. TV Guide, your indispensable companion, also x-rays the relevance of social media in the modern society. Meet some TV professionals who have impacted their spaces and other inspiring stories in sports, entertainment, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or NTA stations nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
The second wave of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic is upon us.
To safeguard lives of our people, government has signed the health protection regulations, which makes wearing a face mask mandatory in public places.
Wear a mask. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Wash your hands regularly with soap and clean water. And use hand sanitizer.
COVID-19 is real. Do not be infected. Do not spread it. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Chelsea look to continue their amazing run of 12 games unbeaten when they travel to Ellen Road. Will they succeed or will the streak come to an end? Find out as Leeds United welcome Chelsea this Saturday on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 1 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Babai Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up in association with Gold.com.
You're welcome. Nigerians will no longer be stranded abroad due to loss of damage of passport. This follows the launch of the temporary passport for Nigerians who desire to return home from foreign countries. Victor Azu reports that the passport is valid for only a single trip.
It has all the features of the regular passport, but it's not. This is a new temporary passport produced by the Nigeria Immigration Service with the aim of ensuring that Nigerians abroad, including newborns, can return home whenever they want to, regardless of the status of their regular passports. It is a replacement for the hitherto emergency travel certificate, valid for only 30 days and automatically invalidates the passport reported missing.
This document has only 4 pages. It has the passport photograph inside, but it is subject to office check. If it is issued by Canadian High Commission in Ottawa, it is starting to be valid from the day it is issued, but it will expire after 30 days of issue. So, but if it is issued and the person has traveled with it, even within 2 days, but remaining to 80 days, it still becomes invalid.
We will, by this feat, now have an organized, serialized, and verifiable system of issuing temporary travel documents. Furthermore, it will resolve and eliminate the issue of differences in costs of ETCs across our missions.
But that's not all. For the Minister of Interior, the new document holds significant prospect for national security and the ongoing enrollment for national identity number.
This is a further consolidation of the digitization efforts of the operations of the Nigerian Immigration Service to further strengthen its collaboration with other security agencies for effective and efficient border security for our nation.
Apart from bearing security features, the new passport is compliant with the demands of the International Civil Aviation Organization. Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
The quality of a country's legislature and its legislations is often said to be a factor of the quality of its legislative aids. This is what the 9th National Assembly, through the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, is not relenting on training of aides to continuously improve the quality of legislation in Nigeria. Johnny Yaku was at one of such trainings for 300 legislative aides in Abuja.
Training and retraining are necessary components that bring out maximum output of a workforce in every organization. For an institution like the National Assembly, this is very crucial for its workforce, both for old and new aides, to be familiar with the workings of the National Assembly for effective legislation. Zuleyha Sani is one of the trainees.
Number one, you have to be humble.
Lack of capacity building and lack of training, which I am happy to say that this is a step forward in the right direction.
The leadership of the National Assembly is in full support of this initiative, as it says, quality legislation is the key to sustainable democracy.
It is therefore pertinent to state that the gulf between a legislative aide and a passionate political supporter must be widened for more than before, as brain is quite different from BRA. This program is being organized after training needs assessment.
The relevance of continuous capacity development for legislators, parliamentary staff, as well as aides is predicated on the centrality of legislature as the most important democratic political institution.
So far, there are evidence of improved legislation because of mechanisms put in place to evaluate the output of those trained.
The evaluations and monitoring unit of our institute will come up with a study, to find out whether what we have impacted on the trainers has really worked for them.
The more the legislator gets their work easily done, that is a sign that their aids are functioning.
The workshop, segmented into beginners, intermediate and advanced groups, dwells on techniques of developing legislative briefs, drafting motions, resolutions, ethics and code of conduct, among others. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
And the need for stakeholders to drive means that will enable migrants to easily access protection and assistance in the face of challenges dominated discussions at the third stakeholders engagement in Abuja on the protection of migrants. Joseph Otsen reports that participants harped on the difficulties migrants are facing to cope under the coronavirus pandemic as a major concern.
They move from one place to another within their countries and abroad, mainly in search of work and other economic reasons. But as migrants, they are susceptible to human trafficking, marginalization, and other harsh treatment by agents who take advantage of their vulnerability. According to the Civil Society Network, which is collaborating with the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation, to draw attention to the protection of migrants.
We are dealing with people who now have been forced to not be able to move anymore, and so they're having to deal with a new set of challenges on top of what they already have.
Ensure that communities live in harmony with migrants, so that migrants are not cut off from services, especially humanitarian services in the times of emergency.
Participants from relevant organizations agree that there is a need for continuous synergy between key actors to come up with more support programs for them to live comfortably.
Returnees who are facing rejection in their community. For Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, it is within our mandate to see how we can reintegrate them.
The International Organization for Migration estimates that over 1 billion people of the world's population are migrants, and more than 400 million are living in the economic community of West African states. In Abuja, Joseph Otsen, NTA News.
In line with the federal government's commitment to empower Nigerian youths and women, the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs has concluded a training and empowerment program for some of them from the Niger Delta. Larry Bailey was at the graduating all the participants in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital.
Interview with Solomon from Akwa Ibom and Sophia from Delta State reveals that the training they had undergone has not only quenched their thirst to better themselves, but given them the boost to achieve their goals.
This, as a whole, give us a platform to come out and flourish as people with our small stuff. At least it will help us start up something.
Youth these days, they tend to go into businesses, owning their own private enterprise. So it's actually going to help us.
The participants attest to the fact that it is not a jamboree, but a detailed 2-week training in oil and gas, mobile phones repair, and assemblage, as well as other vocations.
One aspect of his government is to create jobs for the youths of this great country, and he has done that through several skill acquisition programs, and this is one of them.
Can I assure you that these graduates will be not only responsible, but they will be intuitive.
42 of them are graduating, and they are going into the society to test their knowledge. From Ibadan, Larry Bilayi, NTA News.
In the meantime, stakeholders in the oil and gas sector are considering crashing the prices of petroleum products, leveraging on artisanal refining system. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Ita Enang, gave the indication in a press briefing preparatory to the Stakeholders Summit. Ikechukundukwe reports.
Conference is to harmonize and improve technologies already used by artisanal refiners with the intention to insert its recommendations into the ongoing petroleum industry bill being considered in the National Assembly to give it a legal backing.
Sending it abroad, the cost of the vessel, the cost of the demurrage arising. When it is finished, you pay tax in those countries, you pay tax in this country, you pay the port charges of those countries where it is refined and coming from, and then you pay the labor of those countries. And then when it comes into Nigeria, you pay the port charges, you pay the customs, you pay all other charges, and that is what makes up the cost of high refined petroleum product.
The Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Niger Delta Affairs is partnering with the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Science and Technology, Department of Petroleum Resources, Domestic Refiners Association, University of Petroleum Delta State, and the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, among other stakeholders, in fine-tuning the process which he said will crash petroleum products to 100 naira per litre. Ikechukundukwe, NTA News.
So far, so good. Sports, it's up next after these messages. Stay with me.
Chelsea look to continue their amazing run of 12 games unbeaten when they travel to Ellen Road. Will they succeed or will the streak come to an end? Find out as Leeds United welcome Chelsea this Saturday on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 1 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Bye Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up in association with Gold.com.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Let's talk sports. AIMA International begin CAF Confederation Cup group stage on a winning note. This and more on Sports Update.
Welcome to Sports Update. Let's begin with football.